If you scroll down a bit from the summaries, you'll start to see the actual data. Each figure in the following sections has a bolded label at the top so you know what it is you're looking at. In some cases, you'll also see a subheading with some extra information, like the UV collection wavelength. You'll also see a spectrum in the middle, with units and numerical labels on each axis. The first spectrum you'll see is the total ion chromatogram, or TIC, and just below that, the LCUV chromatogram. These are good things to check to see if your sample is generating enough signal, or maybe to compare the two if you've got something showing up in the TIC but not the UV. If you scroll down a little further, you'll see the raw ESI data for the first peak in the target mass summary. ProMass labels each peak here with a number, a letter, and a charge. The number represents the mass to charge ratio for that peak, and the charge will either be positive or negative, depending on the analysis that was done. The letters correspond to charge series. All of the peaks that ProMass deems to be in the same charge series will share the same letter. So all peaks labeled A are in one series, all peaks labeled B are in another series, and so on. If you scroll down one more spectrum, you'll see what you've probably been waiting for. The widely coveted deconvoluted mass spectrum! Here you'll see the final result of ProMass's deconvolution algorithms. This converts the mass to charge values from the ESI spectrum into just mass, so you can see exactly what's in your sample. Each peak series from the raw data is represented by at least one peak in this spectrum, sometimes more if the species has multiple charge states. Below this spectrum is what's called the zoom deconvoluted mass spectrum. This is essentially a close-up view of the region of the deconvoluted spectrum that includes the most intense peak. If you have more than one peak in your TIC, you'll see a pattern repeat if you continue to scroll down along the report. ESI spectrum, deconvoluted spectrum, and finally zoom deconvoluted spectrum. This spectral trio will appear for each peak in the chromatogram for the remainder of the report until you finally reach the bottom, where the result code key lives.